Today at Manchester Theatres, I am with Manchester's very own world famous clown, Bippo, a.k.a. Gareth Ellis, who is currently touring with Gandeys Circus show Carnival. It's on at the Trafford Centre right now, and it's moving to Aintree Racecourse from the 24th of April. Now, Bippo or Gareth has worked with some of the biggest circuses across the globe. We're talking Zippo's Circus to Circus of Horrors, Hippodrome Circus, Circus Mondeo, Jerry Bottle's Turbo Circus, Russell's International, John Lawson's Circus Star. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So we really are with a bona fide circus star today. So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to throw you straight in there and ask what has been going on at the Trafford Centre with this whole Old Trafford Centre thing that's been going on, because you've actually turned it into a marketing opportunity as well, which I absolutely love. So
I mean, we can't. You can never not turn things into a story. Basically, we're at the Trafford Centre, and you call them walk-ups. You know, when people come to the box office to
Yeah.
buy tickets, you don't really get many walk-ups here because of where we're situated. We're situated near the Tesla collection point, so there's not many people walking past. But all of a sudden one day there was people being dropped off by taxis. Well, we presume so, we didn't actually physically see them ourselves, and the girls from the box office rang up Joel, who's a friend of mine, who's also the ringmaster sort of company manager here at the circus, saying there's people coming to the box office saying, is this Old Trafford? Obviously people not from the country, not from the area. And the girls have had to be like, well, no, Old Trafford's like quite a while away. So they rang up Joel and told him, and we thought, oh, it's just a one-off. Maybe someone's got something wrong, put the wrong address in on Uber. Because you know, on Uber, you put it into the app, and then you sort of get in the car, and he takes you, and you don't really talk to him, you know. So we were like, oh, it's just someone that's done that, put the wrong address in an Uber sort of thing. And then 4 families later, we were like, right, something's going on here. There's a taxi firm that must be saying that because the new stadium that Old Trafford have released, which I don't think is going to happen, but the new stadium that they got all the press for, and loads of people said it looked like a circus tent. So all we can do trying to piece up these pieces is assume that there's some Manchester City or taxi drivers with funny senses of humor. I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. But the director of the circus was like, because we obviously had a little bit of a mini heat wave, didn't we, in Manchester? And whenever there's a heat wave, the circus business goes like downwards, because who wants to come and sit in a tent when you can have a barbecue in your back garden and not spend as much money, sort of thing. So she was like, you know, it's hard enough trying to get people into the big top, and now they're coming wanting to see Manchester United. And all we've got is Bippo the Clown and a couple of motorbikes, and obviously it's a really good show. But I get what she was meaning. So yeah, we turned it. I did a TikTok video that's had 200,000 views. The Facebook post that I did has got 55,000 views. Instagram's got a few thousand, and then the MEN messaged me, so I did an interview with them, and now we've had like 8 or 9 different web-based publications about it and things like that, and the business has picked up. So it's kind of worked, you know. The director said to me, what should we do next week? I was like, well, we didn't really do anything now. We just made a video about something that was happening. You can't just create like nonsense, because in this day and age people will find you out, you know. So
I love it. I love it. And all of this started for you at age just 3. When you was it Zippo's you went to see?
yeah, it was Zippo Circus in Southport. My mum and dad are really good. Well, used to be. They don't. My dad don't do much anymore. He just sits in his front room. But they used to take the kids out to theatres and live entertainment as much as they can. Any form of live entertainment, mum and dad used to take, especially me too. And we went to watch Zippo's Circus in Southport, and I became obsessed. Like now I've got kids myself, and I understand what it's like when kids become obsessed. But Bella, my little girl, she became obsessed with Paw Patrol. The week later, it was what do you call it? The Peppa Pig, then the week later it was whatever else, and so you end up spending a fortune on all these toys, and you know what it's like. You end up throwing them away or giving them away or whatever. Well, I was different. I kind of stuck to it and was obsessed with clowns and circus and things like that. So my mum and dad, sorry, used to buy me different bits of costume, makeup, bits and pieces every birthday and Christmas. Some props, juggling clubs. They used to take me to different circus sort of workshops in the area, in Bury and stuff. And then it got to the point where whenever circuses were in the area, we used to go and visit, and then it got to the point where we'd bought our own caravan and we'd go and stay with them while they're in the area, which sounds a bit weird, but it was great because circus is very much like a big family, and you either absolutely love it or you absolutely hate it. And my mum and dad started falling in love with it as well. And then cut to I did random things like I did the Pontins road shows and school assemblies at Peelbrow as a clown, and Butlins I worked for when they were changing from the old style to the new style. I did a tour with them as a clown. Cut to when I was 9 years old. My dad got made redundant from British Gas. My mum was bored with her job. She was a nursery nurse locally, and we all decided to run away and join the circus. And we went from a 4-bedroom house in Ramsbottom to a 2-berth caravan, and there was 3 of us, so it was tricky. And yeah, we did our first circus season on the Moscow State Circus. Obviously I couldn't perform because you have to be Russian to be in that show, but it was a great way to sort of get in with the business and get to know people. And then we joined Zippo Circus, and we were there for 9 years.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's the rest is history, really.
Yeah, it is. And that takes you right up to, like you say, history up to now, where you're with Gandeys, with their show Carnival. So I'm going to ask what you're doing in a moment, but what are the other acts in this show? So if someone's coming, what can they see?
The different thing with Gandeys to all the other shows, and I'm not just saying this because I work for them. It's my last year this year touring, so it's not as if I've got to promote this show forever, sort of thing. But the difference with Gandeys is that there's production numbers, there's costumes. It's a show. It's not just act, then a clown, then act, then a clown, then act. Then it's an actual experience and a show. Silly things like coming into the foyer. The foyer's all floored. There's inflatable things. It's amazing. It's more of an experience. But in the show, there is jugglers. There's a troupe of Ethiopians that do an Akirian act, which is where basically they juggle each other with the feet. There's my partner is on the aerial cube. She does an act with Franco, who's from Cuba. He does a handstand act. We've got the Globe of Death, which I don't think we're allowed to call it. We're meant to call it the Thunderdome. Sorry, because you're not allowed to say death anymore. So we've got the Thunderdome with the 3 bikes in it. We've got the Wheel of Speed, or whatever they call it, the space wheel that used to be called the Wheel of Death, but now we're 2025. What else have we got? We've got loads. We've got a Skywalk, which is not in from Star Wars. It's a guy that does basically the monkey bars with his feet,
Oh my
without any form of safety, no harness, no net, no anything. And he does that with 2 trapeze. It's not just, he doesn't just climb up and do that. He does this whole act. We've got a high wire act with the Girlins. The end of their act is they've got 2 guys with a metal pole that connects them, with the other guy stood on the metal pole on a chair. I mean, who thinks these things up? But in between all of that is me and Ringmaster Joel messing about doing sketches and various things, and also the amazing production numbers. So it is based on Carnival this year. So the finale, we've got these, I want to say 20-foot, but that might be an exaggeration. These 3 massive 20-foot carnival characters. We've got confetti cannons,
Wow.
girls in feathers. Like, it's lovely. It really is a lovely show. Last year was Hollywood, so it was very grand and very sort of regal, and everything was all shiny and that. Whereas this year it's just a big party, and I think that's what everyone needs.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds fantastic. I've seen like some of the trailer videos for it, and like you say, it's just I imagine it's one of them you just don't even know where to look, and you'd never quite get over picking your jaw up off the floor until the next thing's on, and then you're like, whoa.
And
Um,
what's good as well is that they don't say like, because the circus is a big space, especially this one. It's a big, because it's not it's in the round, so you've got to fill the whole with theatre, because I do pantomime in Liverpool. With theatre, there's all these clever ways that you can sort of cut off the stage and you work directly
mm,
forwards, whereas in the circus you can't really cut off the stage, because if you cut any of the stage off, then that means people can't see.
mm,
So you've literally got to fill that massive space, and Gandeys does it really well. So like when my partner's working up in the air, there's all these, it sounds really weird, but there's all these inflatable fish, and there's a stingray and a seahorse, and it's the song's called The Ocean, and it's kind of a scene rather than just an acting that you're watching somebody up in the
yeah.
air in this massive void of space, and like they do a trapeze act, and they've got six dancers plus my partner plus three Ethiopians all in the ring at the same time with these massive firebird wings on. So it's more of an experience and a production rather than just
Yeah.
watching someone mess about on a trapeze.
It sounds incredible. It really does. And what about Bippo in this show? What can we expect from Bippo?
Just nonsense, really. We sort of, me and Joel have worked together quite a few times and we've known each other for years. So we sort of go, right, what can we do that's slightly modern, that isn't something people have seen 1,000 times, where the clown throws popcorn on someone and all this stuff.
Mm.
So this year I do this thing where I have a mind reading device where I wave it above people's heads, and when the light turns green, it tells out, and they're obviously pre-recorded, funny vox pop things. I do this carnival because it's obviously a carnival-based show. I come out in a carnival costume. Joel says that the costume's too small, blah blah blah. So then I end up in this little mini sort of costume. We do a boxing routine, which is slapstick, where me and Joel randomly have a boxing match in the middle of the show. What else do I do? I do the Knives of Doom, where I get a lady out of the audience and juggle knives over the top of her, as you do, casual.
You do, yeah.
Um, and all sorts of other things. I do a baby shark thing, so after my partner's act, because it ties into the underwater sea sort of thing, I chase a baby shark around the tent, and so it's just, yeah, just chaos, really.
I love it. I love it. And you've mentioned there about getting someone up out of the audience. Now, I've read, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I've read that when people are going to be pulled out of the audience, you kind of already know who that's going to be before they've even kind of come in. Is that right?
No, I never do that. I never pre-select. A lot of sort of theatre. Again, a lot of the theatre shows they pre-select because everything's timed, and
Yeah.
there's a guy writing a show report as we speak and all of this stuff. When I moved from circus into theatre doing pantomime, it was an eye opener. I was like, wow, circus is like the Wild West sort of thing. Um, Basically, all I do is through the show, I judge how they are reacting to the show,
Yeah.
and I think I'm quite good at it now. In respect of if they're sat there engaging, laughing, clapping, and actually looking at the whoever they're with and nudging them, go, "Oh, did you see?" Blah blah blah. Then you kind of get the feeling for them that they're gonna join in and do whatever you want, basically. Whereas if they're sat there like this and an act's done a compliment where they ask
Yeah.
for the applause, and they sort of don't clap or applaud, and they don't smile, they don't cheer, then you sort of leave them alone, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Um, but yeah, in pantomime, when I do pantomime in Liverpool, we do pre-select audience members, and especially when we're using kids, because
Yeah.
you want to have good kids that are funny. You don't want little Jimmy coming up screaming in
Crying.
front of 1,000 people.
Yeah. So, have you ever been tempted to try any of the other circus skills, any of the trapeze or monkey bars or anything?
Nothing like that. I mean, I've been on the wheel of wheel of
Yeah,
death, the space
the
wheel.
thing. Yeah.
Um, I've been on that, and years ago when I was on Zippo Circus, there was a couple called Los Marinos, and it's a guy, father and son, and they still work together now. They actually own their own circus now. They've done really well, and they used to do a high wire act. That's what they were known for, and they decided to buy a wheel of death. So basically, they sat there and went, "How can we earn more money? Let's do more dangerous things." So they bought a wheel of death space wheel, and the dad, because he was older, used to get quite tired, and obviously I was a lot thinner and more athletic back then. So Chico used to come. "What are you doing tonight?" Be like, "Nothing, probably playing Xbox or something." "Can you come with me?" So I had to be in the other side of the wheel,
Oh,
so just
wow.
to keep the tempo, so he could practice doing different tricks and bits and pieces. So I've actually done that. I wouldn't say I can do that.
Yeah.
I've just done it,
But
you
you've done
know.
it. Yeah.
I actually wanted to be a juggler as much as I wanted to be a clown as well. When I was younger, I wanted to be sort of a clown comedy juggler, but then I reached four balls, then five, and then I got to five and couldn't do it, so basically gave up and got sick of bending over, picking everything up all the time. I can juggle quite well, to be honest, but I've got no interest in the slightest doing anything in the air, like at all. I'm not afraid of height. Oh, one time at Wookey Hole, because I was a trainer at a circus school in Wookey Hole for a couple of years, and we got the springboard out, which is where two people jump on that end, and then it sends the other guy off, and he does just three or four. So obviously being a big guy, I was one of the ones to jump on the thing, and the pedestal was about 15 foot, maybe less. And even standing on that pedestal to jump onto the springboard, I was there screaming and nearly crying. And the guy was there about to get pinged off into space, and he was there like, "Can you calm down?" I was like, "Ah!" So yeah, I've got no interest really.
Well, I don't blame you. My feet would be firmly on the ground as well, I'm telling you. Um, so we've heard about the kind of acts that are in the circus, but what about like the practical side of like how do you even get a big circus tent up? I can't even get them, the little kids pop-up ones. I can't even get them folded back together. Like, is it kind of all hands on deck? Are you all involved in that? Or
Yeah, and to be honest, it is an art form as well, because there's a certain way of doing it so that it's safe, so that when it's windy, it doesn't just turn into a big sail when you take the ratchets
yeah,
off. So it is a bit of an art form, and it is, especially on Gandeys, all hands on deck. Like we all have our own roles.
mm,
So like I'm part of the backstage crew, and we call it pull down and build up. In theatre, they call it the get in and get out.
yeah.
So yeah, on the pull down, I'm part of the backstage crew. So we pack all the props away, we take down the curtains, which sounds like an easy job, but honestly, it isn't. The truss work for the curtains is the heaviest thing I've ever lifted in my life.
Wow.
But yeah, and this show we start pull down at about 5, and I reckon we finish at about half 10, 11, something
Wow.
like that. And it's a massive setup. There's like flooring, there's 50 intelligent lights. It's different. Some shows they don't have flooring, they don't have as much lighting. So I worked on a circus called John Lawson's Circus, and I was actually the clown and tent master. So I was in charge of the tent
Wow.
going up and down as well. And we used to get that tent down and all packed away, ready to drive in 2.5 hours. And sometimes it'd be 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever. So yeah, that was really quick. But again, it was a smaller tent, not as much lighting. you know it's all,
Yeah.
you know this is sort of relative.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a job and a half because I've always wondered that. Like you see all of this, but then I'm always interested in like the how as well, how it all.
Yeah, and it is difficult as well, because there's like a troop of drivers that come and drive the show from place to place. um and they're obviously all, it's changed a lot, because circus used to all run on showman's sort of licensing and stuff, where you don't have to use a taco, things like that. And a few shows they used to just drive through the night,
Yeah.
doing load after load from one place to another, because they only do it once every week or once every 2 weeks and stuff. Whereas on Gandeys, it's all very by the book. So they've got drivers that have taco, CPC, blah blah blah. So sometimes they'd be starting driving and we'd be like, "Well, where's the prop trailer?" "Oh, they've got to bring that tomorrow because they've run out of driving hours." And so logistically, it's just crazy. And I mean, this show goes to the Isle of Man, which we've just been to. It goes to the Channel Islands, so
Wow.
that is even more intense, because you've got to get everything on a boat. You've got to, the show is also streamlined, so we don't take stuff that's sort of luxury. So we don't take the dressing room when we go to the islands. We create our own dressing room in the
Oh,
ring
wow.
doors, which is circus language for backstage. So obviously make it more economical to go abroad. Is it
Yeah.
abroad? It is abroad. We go on a boat. Of course, it's
You
abroad.
live in the island, you're going, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it is very hard because
Yeah.
everybody's in accommodation. You've got to sort out people getting to and from the accommodation to the show. So yeah, logistically it's a nightmare, and that's half the reason I haven't done my own big top tenting show, because I just look at that. And my mum used to be the director's PA for Zippo's circus for 9 years, and I used to see how stressed she used to get with all the logistics of it and the organizing things, and I just thought, no, I'm not doing that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Too much paperwork.
Well, that ties in too, because next year, are you taking the circus and putting it onto the stage? Have I found that out correctly? Are you doing a show like that?
Yeah, yeah. So with having kids in circus, you can educate them on the road. That's how I was educated. I
Mm.
did my GCSEs in different schools and stuff. But with not really, Brexit's a massive part of it. But with how hard it is to run circuses now, circuses have become very streamlined. There's only people on the shows that are needed, basically. There's not many people with, say, like the Girlins, for instance, that do the high wire and the wheel. They've all got families, but they're not here. Whereas years ago, when you could have various visas and it was a lot easier and the circuses were a lot busier and there wasn't cost of living crisis and diesel wasn't as expensive, so often the circuses would go, yeah, bring your wife, she can work in the shop, and we'll bring your kids and bring. So circuses used to be like touring villages, which, I mean, this one still is. There's about 40 of us that travel on the show, but a lot of shows there's not really any kids, and there's not really that sort of family pods on the
Yeah,
circuses. So I want my kids to have that social side that I had
yeah,
when I was growing up in circus. I had friends like on the Moscow State Circus. There was five kids from Russia. There was three of the manager's kids. The tent master had two kids. So we were like a little tribe going
yeah,
about, and we were socialising every day. I was outside on my bikes, and I mean, Bella this week, because the director's daughter has been outside. She's been socialising with the director's daughter and stuff, which has been lovely. But
yeah.
I want I want her to have that sort of social side. So yes, sorry, I keep waffling. Um, we're not touring with a circus, but we're having a base in Somerset, and I'm doing a theatre tour, and I've got 9 dates booked so far in May,
Brilliant.
and it's really early to have
Yeah.
things booked. So I've got 9 dates booked in May. I've got Grimsby, I've got Camberley Theatre, Bracknell, Real Pavilion, Hunstanton Princess Theatre. I shouldn't be saying all that. I haven't even put this on my Facebook. And then I've got a few other little juicy jobs that are coming in where I actually have to use big tops. So me waffling on about I'm not going in a big top anymore. There's a few people that have contacted me going, oh, we'd love you to put a circus at XYZ. So I'm gonna rent my own big top, and hopefully, if it all comes off, because obviously it's not signed yet, so this is
Yeah.
like hopefully, if that comes off, that'll be amazing, because it's a way of me doing my own big top show without actually doing my own big top show, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. I'd
It does.
rent it, put a show into it, and without the risk, it's a paid in job. So
Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully it all comes off.
Well, there's so much going on there, from Gandeys to your future projects. It has been an absolute blast chatting with you today. I've learned so much, honestly. It's been really interesting. So thank you for your time. And as we've said, you can catch Gareth, or aka Bippo. Trafford. So when are you at the Trafford Centre till now?
So at the Trafford Centre until the 21st, because the 22nd is my birthday. That's how I
Oh,
know
happy
that.
birthday. Yeah, and then Aintree Racecourse from the 24th of April. So brilliant way to spend your Easter hollybobs. Go along, have a giggle, and be absolutely awed by Gandeys Circus Show Carnival. Thank you so much, and hopefully we will see that show coming a bit north as well next year.
Yeah,
Fingers
yeah.
crossed. And in the meantime, thank you very much and happy birthday for the 22nd.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Take care.
time.